understand the pain in this community. We also confirmed today that the accused shooter had a knife on him as well. But of course, police are still going through this investigation at this point. Today, those new details coming out.
Ryan, how's the community doing at this point?
A great question, Wolf. It's been a lot of pain in this community. One of the things they talked about is when would school open up again? The principal and the superintendent released this statement online just within the last few hours. Take a listen to their statement.
We are working to make sure we have the right systems and resources in place. We also want to ensure that we have the right mental health support on our campus, spaces for relocated classes, and have thought through every detail of your return.
Yeah, this will be tough. Well, September 23rd is the date everyone circled for the kids to go back to school. We've learned that football has been canceled once again because we know one of the football coaches was killed in this incident, so that football game has been canceled. But community members are asking to see exactly what's going to happen next. The sheriff today has been talking about parts of this investigation, of course, revealing that that student rode that school bus. Still so many questions about the early warning signs. We know he missed 9 days of school before this shooting happened, but still, so many questions left unanswered that we have to figure out in the next few days.
All right, Ryan Young reporting. Thanks for that update. Appreciate it very much. And to our viewers, thanks very much for watching. I'm Wolf Blitzer in the Situation Room. I'll see you Monday morning in the CNN newsroom. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can always follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can Instagram me at Wolf Blitzer. The Situation Room, by the way, is also available as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for watching. More news coming up.
Today in Inside Politics, refusing a rematch. Donald Trump says he's done with debates. Now, this is a candidate who is known for his love of cameras and huge audiences, so why is he turning down tens of millions of viewers? Plus, we're halfway there. Steve Harris, he's pumping up the Bon Jovi today as they pass the midway point of their hyperspeed campaign. We have new reporting on their strategy as multiple top advisors say if the election were next week, Donald Trump would win. And Democrats are trying to win North Carolina, and it feels a little bit like Charlie Brown trying to kick a football, but they think this is the year they may be able to turn the Tar Heel State blue. I'll talk to the Republican tasked with stopping that push. I'm Dana Bash. Let's go behind the headlines and inside politics. This week, voters saw Kamala Harris and Donald Trump face off in their first debate, and now it's looking like it may also be their last.
2 nights ago, Donald Trump and I had our first debate. And I believe we owe it to the voters to have another debate.
Because we've done 2 debates and because they were successful, there will be no third debate.
Later this hour, we will hear from Donald Trump, and he is expected to speak to reporters at his golf club near Los Angeles. My colleagues are there and ready to ask questions if they are given that opportunity. We're going to bring it to you live. In the meantime, let's go straight to CNN's Kristen Holmes, who is waiting for that opportunity. Kristen, what are you hearing from Team Trump?
Well, look, Dana, we just don't know when it comes to Donald Trump. They said they were going to do a press conference last week in New York. Of course, he talked for over 60 minutes and then never took questions. Today, we are told he is going to speak for roughly 30 minutes and take questions. So, of course, we'll wait and see. Now, what is on Donald Trump's mind? What do we expect to hear in those 30 minutes? Likely what we've been hearing for the last 48 plus hours, which is the fact that Donald Trump is trying to relitigate the debate. He has been talking about it line by line in front of now more favorable crowds. He was talking yesterday in Tucson, attacking the moderators, going after the debate, saying that it was unfair, but also trying to claim that he won at the exact same time. So we expect to hear that today. We also expect to hear him doubling down on these debunked rumors coming out of Springfield, Ohio. It's something that he has stayed on social media, despite the fact that the city of Springfield has denied these accounts, and the mayor even said we need help, not hate, but it is something that his campaign is clearly latching onto. They believe immigration is a key issue for them, and around that, fear-mongering seems to be how they are going to hammer that issue home. So whether or not he takes questions, that of course is our big question. We'll be waiting to ask him as he takes that stage today, but we just don't know what Donald Trump will do. There's nothing on the agenda, and as we know, Dana, when there's nothing on the agenda, it tends to be whatever comes to mind for Donald Trump.
You certainly know of what you speak. Kristen, thank you so much. Appreciate that. We will get back to you, and let's bring in a terrific group of reporters here. Kadia Gohan of Semaphore, Lisa Ball of the Wall Street Journal, Heidi Prisbala of Politico, and CNN's Isaac Dovere. Happy Friday to everybody. That was a deep sigh. Friday the 13th. It is. I was trying to sort of put that out of my mind, but why not? So I'm wondering what you are, what's your takeaway of just quickly sort of
She texted me, I told her that I'll look out for her, she said she's on her way.
Sounds like there isn't going to be another debate.
Yeah, it's funny, the night of the spin room, the night of the debate, we kind of wrote this piece where all the Republicans were saying, yeah, he should debate again, including his own team. And then he just came out of the spin room and kind of threw water on it and kind of said, well, we'll see. It was very clear at that point that there was not going to be another debate, and then yes, he comes out and says it. It's the best outcome for Democrats or for the campaign, for the Kamala Harris campaign, because it essentially admits some kind of defeat to suggest that, you know, he doesn't need to do this again.
And I want you to listen, Molly, to something that a persuadable Trump voter in a focus group said about this very question.
Let's start off with what she needs to do to move.
I think she needs more well-defined policy. I think she needs, Trump is clear on what he wants to do. I feel like he's articulated it over and over again on immigration, on taxes, on those types of things. I need that from her. I feel like she's been vague.
What's Trump need to do to hold on to you?
He needs to be able to debate. I mean, he needs to do what Harris did yesterday and act presidential and come in with facts and that aren't, lies. And be a little bit more mature, I guess, of a leader.
I want to come back to the first voter who talked about the desire to hear more from Kamala Harris on policy. That second voter, again, this is a Trump voter who could be persuaded to vote for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because, and we found this with some of the undecided voters that we spoke to as well. They felt like, even some of them who, most of them believed that Kamala Harris won the debate, but that wasn't enough for them because they still felt like they wanted more information about her. So she proved she can win a debate. That's a different bar for many voters than do they get my vote, right? They see that as sort of a discrete skill. And yes, if they had questions about her intelligence, if they had questions about her ability to be quote unquote presidential, they may have felt that she checked that box. But there's a lot of them who still feel like they want more information. And so the Harris campaign is looking for different ways to fill in those blanks and get that information to the people who feel like that's what they need to be persuaded. So I think the fact that Trump is talking about this in loser terms means that, because there's a lot of questions about, does he really mean it when he says he's not going to debate again, or is this a negotiating tactic? But the fact that he said that only a loser would want to debate again sort of tells you where his head is at, I think.
Let's talk about Springfield, Ohio. The people of Springfield, Ohio.
No, that's what
They've really been victims of this conspiracy that has been floated by their senator, J.D. Vance, who's running for vice president, and of course the former president of the United States. From the debate stage, today 2 elementary schools were evacuated based on information received by the police, and this is because of these baseless claims that Haitian migrants are stealing and eating pets. I want you to listen to what Pete Buttigieg told Caitlin Collins about this.
They take in the geese. Where the geese are in the park, in the lake, and even walking off with their pets. My dog's been taken. So this can only happen. These people are the worst.
This is a strategy, and there's even more to it than demonizing immigrants, although that's obviously part of what he's doing. This is a strategy to get us talking about the latest crazy thing that he did, whatever urban legend he amplifies. Right now it's about people eating cats or geese or whatever. Because he cannot afford for us to be talking about his record.
actually numbers to back up what he says, right? We know it's a strategy because we're seeing similar claims like this about immigrants, for instance, that Congo
I thought she was gonna play the game.
prisoners emptying its prisoners.
Yeah, but it's so much going on.
That's why I told her to
And
fix
as
it
long
now.
as people are talking about that, they're not
That's the,
talking about
she covered with this or they go?
and
It's
so
covered
there's
with.
numbers to back it up. There's a polling that came out that showed when swing voters were presented simply with the facts of the economic plans of Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump, overwhelmingly they supported the Harris plan or what we know about the Harris plan. So there are facts to back up what he's saying there, and this is something that Trump has done, and he's done it in every campaign, which is to play into people's existing biases, into the worst instincts of human nature that we are, his audiences in certain cases, are predisposed to want to believe these things. I know this, my colleague was on a plane the other day and she said she saw a woman, a very nice lady, who pulled up the video and said, look, you can't trust the media. This is how I know that this is true, that people's pets are being eaten, because I saw it in this video on YouTube, and that's where we are.
Yeah, and I take your point. I mean, this is his original playbook that he keeps going back to, Donald Trump. But I do feel like this time things are different. The playing field is different because those are the people who he probably already has, and people who are not so sure about him because now they're being reminded of this crazy conspiracy stuff that he talks about, are being reminded of this crazy conspiracy stuff, and all they want to do perhaps is remember that they can afford their groceries.
It works for his base, let me clarify.
Yeah, no, I know, but like, aren't they already going out?
Yeah, I think it's important to think about the people who are watching the debate on Tuesday night, who are not us, the political world, who are not as online as we all are, and heard without any context Donald Trump say, and they're eating dogs. And that was from nowhere, right? And so, yes, it is a false story, it is a made-up story, it has at least a ribbon of racism running through it, if not more than a ribbon, but it is also just a strange thing that he is talking about, and we wonder how viewers respond to that when they see somebody say something that sounds made up, is weird, and I don't say that in the Tim Walz way. It's a strange thing if people are eating pets. What is he talking about? And I will tell you that at least from the Harris campaign's numbers that they were looking at on this when they did those dial groups there, people twisting the dial one way or the other with it. The thing that they found was the worst moment for Donald Trump was that.
That's really interesting. All right, I want to change subjects for a second and talk about something that is going on out there with Doug Emhoff. And specifically, there is an outside group, a PAC, that is running an ad that may seem on its face like it's rah-rah, let's support Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff, because it would be history-making, not just because of her, but because he would be the first Jewish first spouse. Watch this and we'll explain what it really means on the other end.
Joining Kamala will be her husband and top advisor, Doug Emhoff, who would be the first Jewish presidential spouse ever. Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff making history, standing up for what's right, supporting Israel.
Now, I want to ask you about this, Heidi, because you are from Dearborn, Michigan. This is being run in Michigan, where the Republicans are trying to make mischief and try to play this not because they're trying to appeal to people and say, please support Doug Emhoff because of this wonderful history that he would be the first Jewish first spouse, but to the very large, perhaps Arab American vote and electorate. Do you really want this guy in the White House?
We have a massive Middle Eastern population in Dearborn, probably the biggest in the entire country, and it is already primed in that there are a lot of Arab Americans who are upset about Biden's handling of the war in Israel. They are primed in the sense that they tend to be kind of culturally conservative. That's like the history, and a lot of them were Republicans before the Iraq War. After the war, after Trump's Muslim ban, not so much. All you have to do is get them to stay home. It's not about necessarily winning the votes over for Trump, but if you get them to stay home, Go back to 2016, for instance. One of the last stops Hillary Clinton made on her campaign was Michigan because they thought they had it, but then the numbers went sideways. It wasn't necessarily Arab Americans that time, but we do know is that it can be very fluid. And so this is extremely strategic. And as Isaac said, if this is what they're doing now, just wait for the next few weeks in terms of targeting that population, which they obviously feel.
And we can't, yeah, we can't know exactly who it is, but there are links to a man named Capel Hobbs, who served as the treasurer for a super PAC for Ron DeSantis. So this is obviously coming from the Republican side of the ledger and trying to, cause some confusion, but I just think it's pretty gross.
You said something to me.
It's not just about Israel. They're trying to play on anti-Semitism.
Yeah, and there is a thread that connects that to what we were talking about with the stuff out of Springfield. There are real policy issues here about what's going on in Gaza. There are real policy issues about immigration. But this is being litigated on hate and fear.
Yeah, very true. Don't go anywhere because there is a quiet confidence, but it's going to be a grind. That is how one aide described the move inside Harris headquarters. We have new reporting from Isaac here on what they see as their path to 270. Don't go anywhere.
You are not broken. They just need a place to be heard.
The people who may not have a loud voice, nevertheless have an important story to tell. And there's a responsibility in telling their stories accurately. There is hope. Their trust in me means everything.
Look at this. What I do for my home. That's good, man. Whoa, let me back up for a minute.
We've heard all the pundits, seen all the hot takes, and read all the headlines. But what's it like to hear from the people actually living the news? I'm Audie Cornish, longtime journalist, and my CNN podcast will break down trending stories, the debates rocking our culture, and talk to the people living the headlines. I've got a lot of questions.
The Assignment with Audie Cornish. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. Every weekday morning.
Here are the 5 things you need to know to start your day.
Stream CNN's 5 Things with Kate Baldwin for the news you need.
How about this for an earnings call headline?
In 5 minutes or less.
The battle for democracy, because learn something every day.
And the stories you'll want to share.
Oh my God, lift off. It is awe-inspiring to see what happens. Bravo! Bring it together, guys.
CNN's 5 Things with Kate Baldwin. Streaming weekdays on Max. When you look back 100 years from now, we're going to say, this is where everything changed.
We are talking about the revolution.
Music could make a difference. The world fundamentally changed.
Hitler undermined himself. America felt betrayed. French's hands have ushered in PTB.
Seven astronauts setting off on a scientific mission.
They're doing great. If you work in spaceflight, this is the worst possible thing that can ever happen.
The space shuttle accident is usually not one thing.
Is that the wing coming apart?
My dad died doing what he loved.
Space Shuttle Columbia, the final flight. Now streaming on Max. This is what you want. This is what you need. This is the path to true happiness. Oh man, I love the sauce already. Delicious. It's a good day at the office for me. But let us see your thing. Every weekday morning.
Here are the 5 things you
to start your day.
Stream CNN's 5 Things with Kate Bolduan for the news you need.
How about this for an earnings call headline?
In 5 minutes or less.
The battle for democracy. Learn something every day.
And the stories you'll want to share.
I hope my God. Lift off.
Florida because we want to really spotlight North Carolina. Democrats think that they could turn it a shade of tar heel blue. I'm going to talk to the man trying to stop them, and that is the state's Republican Party chair. Plus, Donald Trump is at some point going to address reporters in Los Angeles. Will he take questions? We'll find out after a quick break.
Beyond the Act, moments that shaped our culture. Coming this fall on CNN. We hear nothing. A space shuttle accident is usually not one thing. It's a series of events. Is that part of the wing coming apart? Space Shuttle Columbia, the final flight, now streaming on Max.
Elliot Spitzer blazed a trail that had him in spitting distance of the White House, right up until the moment he set himself on fire. Crusading governor by day,
Wanted desperately, I think, to be president of the United States.
client number 9 by night. This guy who's a crusader against human sex trafficking is actually a customer. Here's how the saga of Elliot Spitzer really went down. This was a turning point in American government.
The United States of Scandal with Jake Tapper, now streaming on Max.
This is an incredible story. The stakes were extremely high.
I believe you are the son of God.
His election is an earthquake.
He transcends the church.
I'm chosen to stay and fight.
He said, I'm not getting in this to lose. The sky's the limit. When we look back 100 years from now, we're going to say, this is where everything changed.
We are talking about the revolution.
Music could make a difference. The world fundamentally changed.
Clinton undermined himself. America felt betrayed. French's have ushered in PTE.
Every weekday morning,
Here are the 5 things you need to know to start your day.
stream CNN's 5 Things with Kate Bolduan for the news you need
How about this for an earnings call headline?
in 5 minutes or less.
The battle for democracy. You learn something every day.
And the stories you'll want to share.
Oh my God, lift off. It is awe-inspiring to see what happens. Bravo! We're in it together, guys.
Things with Kate Bolduan, streaming weekdays on Max. You ready? Yeah, I can live. Somebody asks you, what are you? Do people ask you that sometimes?
I would just say American.
I would imagine side in these roads. You know what they say? Safety third.
I'm a disabled person, just like you're not a person with blackness.
I'm not trying to be confrontational. We're getting right into these things. I'm trying to be conversational. This is what you want. This is what you need. This is the path to true happiness. I'm gonna love it, the sauce already. Delicious. It's a good day to be honest with me. But it is a year too. Every weekday morning,
Here are the 5 things you need to know to start your day.
stream CNN's 5 Things with Kate Bolduan for the news you need
How about this for an earnings call headline?
in 5 minutes or less.
The battle for democracy. You learn something every day.
And the stories you'll want to share.
Oh my God, lift off. It is awe-inspiring to see what happens. Bravo! We're in it together, guys.
CNN's 5 Things with Kate Bolduan, streaming weekdays on Max. Martha was about the next excellence to perfection. All the magazines and television shows.
There is no media personality, businesswoman, celebrity chef like her. Martha fell fast and hard. The comeback was beginning before she ever left.
If you'd asked me, would there still be interest in Martha Stewart 20 years from now? I would have said absolutely not. Where did I underestimate Martha Stewart? The Many Lives of Martha Stewart, now streaming on Max.
I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta in Atlanta, and this is CNN. Democrats
Democrats are zeroing in on one swing state that Joe Biden lost 4 years ago, North Carolina. Vice President Harris held 2 rallies there yesterday, attended by about 25,000 people. Our own Isaac DeBear reports that this morning the campaign really feels confident about winning there, even more so than Arizona. But Republicans think that they can hold on to the Tar Heel state, which hasn't gone for a Democratic president since 2008. Joining me now is the chair of the North Carolina Republican Party, Jason Simmons. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Before President Biden dropped out, Democrats, as you well know, essentially gave up on competing in your state. Kamala Harris is showing interest, is showing a slight lead within the margin of error in multiple polls. The Quinnipiac University up 3 points in their September poll. How worried are you, candidly, about that state for Donald Trump?
Well, we saw in 2016 as well as in 2020, President Trump won with really overwhelming support across the state. What we continue to see is voters will continue to break late, especially as we get into early vote, which will start on October 17th.
I think it was pretty tight, the Trump margin there.
Well, he won by